I got really interested in farming because I think it just grabbed hold of me. I think it chose me in a weird way.
Hi, so we're at Kaleb Cooper's Cider Festival here at Hawkstone Brewery. We're going to be meeting the man himself and talking about all things apple and cider.
Can you tell us a bit about your cider making story and how did you get involved with the business?
It was like 2 years ago, and Jeremy said, well, I'm going to do a lager. And I said, oh, really good idea. And that's when he brought into the brewery, where we are now. I said, well, I'm not from a farming background, and I haven't got a farm, and but I do farm on like seven other farms. And I thought, well, why didn't I go out there and see if anyone's got apples around, etc. And every single farm that I go to has got an apple tree. A majority of the time, the apples just fall and they get left there, and sometimes pigs will graze on them. Sometimes they'll be picked up and put into a crumble, because who doesn't like a crumble? And then other times they're just left there, and that's it. Anyway, I thought, well, why don't I could go around and maybe pick a few of these apples and maybe team up with someone who makes a really good cider. And I thought, well, I don't want to use concentrate, because the majority of these places do use concentrate. So they get concentrate in from Poland, they wet it down with water, and then they make the cider. And I thought, well, I want to use British apples that have been British grown with high regulations and high standards. Well, I mean, the government keeps telling us to plant more trees, don't they? So, instead of planting a tree that can look at and it's going to look amazing, brilliant, but why don't we plant something that's going to make a little bit of money, maybe?
Brilliant. And what's your plans for the future? Where do you see the Hawkstone brand going forward?
I think every single pub in supermarkets, I want it to be like a rash and you can't get rid of it.
Kaleb, this is straight for you. Do you think you've spread yourself quite thin with farming, cider, and your tour?
The good thing is, when I'm farming, I'm still working on all the other stuff. So, for example, I've got GPS in all my tractors now. So therefore, this summer, I just press a button and it goes up and down a field on its own. I have to turn at the end. And more importantly, when we're filming Series 3 of Clarkson's Farm, as I'm filming, I'm still doing my day-to-day job, which is farming. And I chose to go on tour in end of January, February, and a little bit of March, because them 3 months, I'm hardly doing anything on the farm because it's so wet out in the field. So therefore, I thought, why don't I go do something in the winter?
You got from a farming background. So how did you get interested in farming?
Because I started farming at 13. I started on a dairy farm. I was on £1 an hour. That's what I got paid. And I didn't care about the money. But if I could help my mum pay the electric and pay for some gas and maybe for the fuel for a van to go and start this business. And I think that's what really hooked me into farming, because you haven't got to just be a farmer. You've also got to be a vet as well, an accountant. And, at 13 years old, I had my own business selling chicken eggs around Chippy Norton. I used to sell about, I think it was like nearly 600 eggs a week at 13 years old. I dropped out of school in years 8 and year 9 and part of year 10 because I could earn more money on the farm, and I was learning more stuff on the farm than I was in the classroom. And the school kept finding my mum. And I said, Mum, don't worry, I'm earning loads of money now, don't worry, I've got this. And, yeah, from there I started, I bought my first tractor at 15. And started my contractor business at 16. So I've always been a bit of an entrepreneur. So, I think that's how it all started. And I think farming saved me, really. At the end of the year, when you've got the harvest in, grab a Hawkstone cider in your hand and then look at the shed filled with gold, which I describe it as gold, as wheat, barley, etc., oilseed rape. And I think that I've grown that all year, nursed that all year, and now it's in the shed. And it can be sold for bread, oil, etc. I think that's my proudest moment anyway. There's so many things I'm proud of, but I think the biggest one is definitely sitting there and going, I grew all that. Jeremy did not help at all. I did that. He may have done a little bit, but and then watching it go into lorries and be eating this delicious bread and oils and stuff like that.
I'd just like to ask, how much has your life changed since being on Clarkson's Farm?
Some people would say, if you look at it in terms of what's happened, a lot. But actually, in terms of my day-to-day, not an awful lot. So I still wake up, for example, this morning I woke up, went and fed my cattle. I then went and put some slug pellets on because the slugs are just demolishing the wheat this year. They're like, they're nothing I've seen before. They're mad. And then all of a sudden, it comes to 1 o'clock, I had some lunch and then come straight down here to come and have a pint with everyone here. And then tomorrow I'll be back out on the farm again. I'm going to go and pick some cows up that I've bought from a local farmer. And then on Monday, I'm back on hopefully if the weather permits, you know, it's all the weather dependent, isn't it? I'm hopefully going to go do some spraying. So I wouldn't say my life's changed massively, but then some people would say, well, you've got 2 books out now and you've got a tour coming up. Well, yeah, you know, but if I can highlight, you know, what it's like, for example, when I went to 10 Downing Street, I went to 10 Downing Street to highlight some of the issues because I've set up a bursary to help young farmers. And I got invited to 10 Downing Street. And basically, I went along and then everyone after was like, oh, you've just been a PR stunt. Well, I said, well, at least if I can be a face of farming in a paper and I'm talking about farming, I've done something.
Would it be fair to say, from a farming perspective, that Jeremy's heart is in farming, but his brain's still behind the wheel of a car?
I think as a whole, yeah, I mean, it's a pleasure to work in terms alongside farming with him because it is really good fun. And I think that brain being behind that steering wheel is the fun part. Annoyingly, and maybe annoying and very annoying. But yeah, I think, I mean, he's getting there. I mean, he is a really good pig farmer, weirdly. We got pigs and he's fantastic at that. That hurt me to say that, but no one tell him, can they? Thank you. I think there's a lot more hoops to jump through, and as we all know, British farmers make amazing food and really high standards, and I think we do that already. So therefore, I don't think we need any more hoops to jump through. But I'm sure the government have got an idea of what they want to try and get out there.